see if we're set up and turned on. Adam mentioned, I'm Gavin Lauchlan, Chief Product Officer here at OpenFin. I'll be joined by my colleague, Chankaya, later in the presentation. It's awesome being back in London again. I'm relieved I no longer need to kick these talks off with cheesy jokes about being back in person, etc., but I have plenty of other cheesy jokes to make up for that. It's been a year since I was at FinJS in December last year, and we unveiled our OpenFin Workspace SDK. And what a year that's been. As we've all been trying to get back to normal from a global pandemic, we've lived through a year of unprecedented change. 3 prime ministers, 3 chancellors, I can't quite keep up. Energy prices doubled, inflation doubled, interest rates tripled, all against a backdrop of war not too far away from us. We lost our Queen, who for many of us was a beacon of stability for our entire lives. And we've been battered by storms that ripped the roof off the O2 Arena, and we sweltered in 40-degree heat waves through the summer. Companies are trying to get people back into the office. That's if you can get a train in between the strikes. It's not all been doom and gloom. We no longer are obsessed with Partygate. Wagatha Christie is done. We got second place in Eurovision, and we're hosting it next year. We'll not talk about how that's not happening in my hometown of Glasgow, though. And of course, the Lionesses won Euro 2022. Indeed. And the pressure's on for the men's team at the end of the month. Scotland didn't qualify, again. But that's okay, that we can always support Wales. Year of change, right? We're all dealing with change. Companies, employees, and human beings. So does OpenFin have the answer to all these things I've talked about? No, we don't. But we do have a very well-stocked bar next door for you. It's been a huge year of change for us at OpenFin and for our products as well. We're a hugely successful business due to, in no small part, many of the people in this room. We're now being used in almost 4,000 institutions globally. We celebrated our 12th birthday this year, and over the last 12 years, we've partnered to you, listened to you, and built a great product with you. The adoption we've seen with OpenFin Workspace in the last year has been absolutely phenomenal. Almost every new customer to OpenFin is opting to use Workspace to build out their platform, cutting their time to value and avoiding the need to build core desktop components. Similarly, many of our container customers are also switching up to Workspace, concentrating on building content and not reinventing the wheel with things like app stores, search interfaces, notifications, etc. As Adam talked about earlier, we've also moved into the US government sector as well, just further validating our security architecture and how Workspace is helping effectiveness with people on the desktop. All of this is what's given us great momentum. We release Workspace on roughly a monthly cadence. Over the course of the year so far, we have released 10 major versions of Workspace. And over those 10 versions, we've added about 50 features. I am not about to go through all 50 features with you, you'll be glad to know. But we do have our booth set up outside, so after the talks are over, if you want to get a deeper dive into Workspace, come talk to us. What I am going to do is give you a bit of a highlight of some of the things we've done over the year. But before I do, just a quick word on our container, because we do get asked about this. Our container is not going anywhere. Our container is what powers OpenFin Workspace. And Workspace is driving a lot of changes into the underlying container that everyone benefits from. The container is still what gives us our unrivaled seamless deployment capabilities, our multi-tenant architecture, our security, our messaging, our interoperability. This is all coming from the container. Critical vulnerabilities in Electron and Chromium are patched into our container within 72 hours of being available to us. It underpins everything that we do. But Workspace. So, home and dock are our UI components that serve as the front door to Workspace. Dock was a new component that we introduced in the summer of this year. It gives you a persistent floating toolbar that gives you presence on the desktop, one-click access to all of your apps, your workspaces, and the other components of OpenFin Workspace itself. Home also received rich customizable templates. So for any given search result, you can add a second layer of detail, as many actions as you want to get to the applications and kick off the workflows that you need. We also added support for lazy loading those additional search details. And like all the components in Workspace, we also introduced the ability to theme all of the UI components. So you can apply your branding and your presence to the desktop. Store is our visualization of your application directory. This is where you can educate your users as to what content is available and what they can do with that content. Store received the theming treatment as well, so it's completely customizable. And we've also added more actions in there, so for every item you can have as many actions as you like and take further actions from the content. Our browser is the heart of Workspace, and that's where your users manage their content. It's where we have our layout management system, where you can have multiple applications side by side, arrange them into sections, etc. We spent a lot of time this year over a few releases, adding lots of customization capabilities into the browser. We're trying to strike that balance of we're trying to give you as powerful a possible offering out of the box, but we know there's a need to customize. So almost every aspect of the OpenFin browser can be customized. If you don't like the pages implementation, it lets you have multiple sets of content, that can be configured. There's an action bar where we give you these out-of-the-box capabilities like color linking, interoperability, locking tabs, etc. Every one of these can be turned off, and you can add your own custom actions in there. We have a rich set of menus. We have a global context menu in the top left, right-click menus. All of these provide out-of-the-box capabilities like saving and switching workspaces, etc. These can be turned off, these can be overridden, these can be customized too. Notifications, guess what? Also gained the theming capability. We've seen a lot of adoption in notifications, and we've been making improvements based on the feedback from our clients and from real-world use cases. Alongside the theming capabilities, we've made UX improvements around how date and time are displayed, how you can dismiss notifications, and we're continuing to iterate on that. So, quick peek at what's coming next in Workspace and Container. In a container, we have FTC 3.2 support. This is the next iteration of the interoperability standard. Some of the highlights there include returning data from intent. So when you kick off a workflow, you can get that data back into the originating application. We are adding programmatic support, or more programmatic support for layout management. So we have really rich capabilities as a user. You can drag and drop and rearrange things, but we want to give developers that capability as well, particularly for more complex workflows. So look out for improved APIs in that space. We're also continuing to build on our deployment capabilities. So you will now be able to select a particular version of your application to run on a desktop based on the runtimes that are available. So whilst OpenFin is highly deployable, there are edge cases. You do run into some situations where someone needs to install a runtime. Your application can react to that and run on what's available to it. In Workspace, we're adding fixed views. So this is the ability to decorate your layout with an additional piece of content that the user can't drag out or rearrange. This gives you the ability to do things like inspector panels or custom navigation or a summary, or things like a context panel where you have an instrument picker and a date picker that's applying to all of the content in the browser. This will be out within a couple of releases before the end of the year. In notifications, we have a long list of improvements that are working through, again, based on these real-world use cases. the ability to snooze a notification so that it can come back, when it's more convenient for you to see it, to be able to categorize notifications and view an archive of things that you've previously actioned. We're also adding a private event feed. This is part of our analytics stream of work, but as a platform, you will also get access to all of the events that your users are taking in your platform. So as a user navigates around inside the store or applies filters to notifications, say, you'll be notified, you'll get these events, and you'll be able to send them to your backend and integrate with your existing analytics system and have the full picture of what's going on the desktop. With that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Chankaya, who's going to take you through what we've been doing with integrations.
Thanks, Gavin. Hi, everyone. I am super thrilled to talk to you guys about integrations. We have a very strong integrations team, and we exist because of the OpenFin community and the feedback that we've been receiving and how we can expand the capabilities of what OpenFin can do. Let's start with Excel. So Excel is a constant presence in a lot of users' desktops. So we have a very lightweight, easy access to a lot of the Excel functions that allows you to build experiences where the users can quickly control and manage their workbooks right from within OpenFin apps. With Salesforce, we know that companies are pouring tons of investment into Salesforce to run their business functions and to manage their customer relationships. But it's not trivial to just spin up an integration with Salesforce, especially on the desktop. So our integrations is simple, it's secure, and within minutes, you're off and running, establishing the connectivity, and you can start building out some very powerful access to data within Salesforce for your users, but also you can build ways for them to trigger workflows right from within the Lightning components, both to and from the OpenFin apps. With Bloomberg, we all know it's a dominant, it plays a very dominant role on the financial desktops, and we have a very solid integration that allows, it comes bundled with the Terminal Connect, and you can really trigger Bloomberg functions into their panels and the Launchpad groups right from within OpenFin. What does all of this mean? It means that these are very powerful platforms that your users really want to have running on the desktop. And OpenFin, powered by its integrations and the Workspace product, just unlocks the ability for these platforms to just work in harmony right on the user's desktop and give the users a synchronized view and synchronized experience on the desktop and just unlocking the productivity proposition for them. So in the same vein, we are super excited to add another integration into our family of integrations, which is Microsoft. So it's the first time we're introducing this to everyone. The release is imminent. We're following pretty much the same theme that that you may have heard as I went through this, which is we're trying to keep it simple, secure, and also make it seamless. So you have access to the vast selection of Microsoft Graph APIs because of this integration. And you'll get a quick sneak peek into how we have shown OpenFin working with Microsoft Teams to really support a very simple workflow. So let me just switch over to the demo so you can see what that looks like. And so here you have two desktops, one on the left, which is John Smith, who is our portfolio manager, and on the right you have Tim Barr, who is our trader. Now, John Smith's got to run to a morning meeting, but he wants to look at an order that he has staged. He wants to quickly get in touch with Tim Barr, and what he's going to do is just a quick click to call Tim using Microsoft Teams. And he starts the call, asks Tim, hey, Tim, what do you need so you can get going with it? Tim on the other side gets an incoming call, so they get through the conversation. and now John knows what to send him. So he gets back into home, in this case, looks up the order, which lands him directly on his trade blotter. And right here, he's able to use our interop capabilities to be able to pull up the chart that Tim wants him to send him. And through the browser capabilities, he's able to then share that. But Tim says, hey, look, I may step out, send it to the channel. So he looks up equity trading channel, pulls it up, and then right there with a few clicks, he's got the entire chart with the context right into that channel. And John just tags him, and then Tim gets the notification. Now Tim can go into that channel, but this time he doesn't have to rekey, copy, paste, or have to remember what they talked about. He just clicks on it, and it opens that chart up on his desktop. And Tim likes what John's sending him, and he says, okay, let's go ahead and pull the trigger on this. So it's a quick sneak peek. I know I just breezed through this whole thing, but hopefully you guys are as excited as I am, but we can't wait for you guys to really take our integrations for a spin, and look forward to hearing from you.